Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So I have covered a lot of design aspect in my previous episode. Now that part is completed, right? You don't really have to worry about it. I mean, if you've been following along. Now, I just wanted to briefly touch about some of the other aspect of the Salesforce. Obviously, I've spoken about it when I started this certification course, right? And this certification course really won't test your in-depth Salesforce knowledge. But that being said, if you're someone who never seen Salesforce before, or if this is your first certification, though I won't recommend you to take this as your first set. But if for whatever reason you decide that, then you need to have some understanding about how the object works and the standard object is about what's a custom object, right? So that's something I want to look at it just to simplify it. So now, if you are someone who used, say, SAP or other CRMs, right? Or for that matter, if you have never used CRMs, that's fine. You might have used a database before, right? That's a SQL Server or Oracle. Now, in SQL Server or Oracle, we have something called tables, right? Tables which stores information. Could be an account table, could be a contact table, and then each tables have fields, right? The fields could be like, let's say, for instance, a contact table. You have first name, last name, email, phone, right? Separate fields. And then you have something called entries inside the table, like you can store information about, say, a person, say Peter Jackson living XYZ place, a Dan Muller living somewhere else, um, you know, uh, similar kind of information, right? So those are records. Okay. Now, if you compare that to a Salesforce, we have called objects, right? Because in Salesforce is kind of a object-based management system, right? So what happens is that, right, the object gets mapped to the underlying, the physical information that's stored uh, in a cloud. So we have standard object, which is like considered as like a standard table. So which comes out of box when you go and register for an org, depending upon the license you buy. Let's say you got a standard Sales Cloud license, right? And then most of the things will come out of box, like accounts you will get leads, you will get contacts, right? So the way to look at it, if you log into your org, right? This is your org. This is how it looks like when you log in. Then you go to this gecko icon, right? And there is something called setup, right? When you click here, it will refresh the page and it will take you to uh, something like this, right? Your interface might vary a bit depending upon the time of the year looking at it. But that being said, you will still see three tabs here, like the setup, home, sorry, two tabs, home and object manager. Now, if you go to object manager, you will see the list of different objects here, right? Different names. So account brand. So these are the standard ones, right? As you can see, the type here. The standard objects, like I said, think about like a like a table, which Salesforce gives you, right? Okay, this is a Salesforce. Now, when you go inside, let's say account, right? You will see something called fields, like I said, right? Okay, let's take an example of, go back, right? Just make it better for you guys. Let's look at contact. And this is a nice option. You can search for it. So I give an example of the contact table, right? So if I go to field and relationship, you will see, right, name, different names, emails. So these are the fields. And the fields could be of different types, right? And different types could be your text, your phone number type, your date, your pick list. So there are different types you can pick and choose. And the good thing is that you don't have to write any code. Everything is point and click. So let's say if I wanted to create a new field, right? I can go new and yeah, it's taking a little bit of time. And I can pick and choose a different field type you want. Do you want an order number which gets generated automatically or formula field? Salesforce has a formula which you can, if you wanted to get the data from a different field, you can do that. You can use if condition, else condition, if you wanted to transform your data, let's say you're getting data in a specific format, which gets stored in the table, but if you wanted to make the data visible in a different format, you can use the formula field. Roll-up summary, it's usually, if you wanted to say, for instance, you have a contact, you have an account and a contact, you wanted to see, say, or let's say you have an account, you have an opportunity. So if you wanted to see the sum of, say, price of an opportunity, you can do that roll-up summary. I don't want to get into that. It's just to confuse. A lookup relationship means like, how does an account relate to, say, or let's say, how does an order, right, relate to an order items, right? You can, or how does a contact relate to, say, an address book, right? A contact, uh, it's not necessary that should be filling an address, but normally you can say it's not. If it shouldn't be making as a mandatory option, but let's say, if you don't want the contact to have, uh, yeah, just take an example, right? Contact and address. You can make it as a lookup. Master detail relationship. Um, you have uh, you have external lookup. Now I'm just this is so external lookup is something if you are dealing with an external object. So we just don't want to worry about that for now because I don't want to confuse you guys, right? So just my main idea is just to tell you, what the fields are, right? So we'll keep it as such. Okay. Now let's say you think that, okay, we get some out of box, like Salesforce for contacts will give you out of box standard fields, right? Which does the job, but sometimes what happens is that you might want to add extra fields, right? So that's how you do it, right? You pick and choose and do whatever you want to do. Okay, so now similar to the standard field, right? Standard tables or standard object, you might at times realize, hey, standard object is not really working out for me. I might need a custom object, right? A custom table. Let's say I want to create a order management table, right? Salesforce don't have that option out of box. So what can you do? You can do that using this create option, right? Create a custom object. So you can do something like that. And let's say I'll do that for you. Order management, and you choose a name. Order management plurals, right? Okay, and allow reports. Just keep it for now, right? Just don't want it to allow search, allow add notes, right? It's everything is point and click. You don't write code to do that. That's the beauty of it. And take some time, all right? So you can pick and choose the tab style, which color you want. Okay, I'll choose this. Yeah, come on, I'll choose this one. Next, it's always um, so you can apply. These are the the profile settings, right? So usually I'll keep it as such for now. And okay, so your object got created, or in other words, your table got created behind the scene, right? And this is the API name. API name is very important. You can give whatever object name you want, but the API name, you got to be careful, right? Because it might get used somewhere else. And if you go and change it, then it might break something in the system. So you just have to be careful with that. Now, I've created this table, but there are certain fields which Salesforce give you out of box. Okay, it's like, for instance, who created it, last modified, order management name, owner. Okay, so these four fields comes as like a standard field which is out of box, and now you have an option to index this as well, right? You can create a custom index. Indexing plays a very important role because indexing will ensure that your data retrieval process is faster. You don't have to, if you understand the concept of the B tree, you will understand, right, how the B tree works, right? So um, usually, if you're from a Salesforce, you understand the concept of cluster index and non-cluster index. So here, just imagine, index something which helps you retrieve the data faster, right? So you can create a custom index if you like. So you can add the new fields, right? If you like custom fields, and yeah, and you can use it. Excuse me. So that's in a nutshell. What do you mean by in a nutshell the difference between standard field and the custom fields? Sorry, standard objects and a custom object, and the standard field and the custom fields at the same time. Now, this information, if you are not new to Salesforce, then you know, right? This is a very important information, very basic information, yet it's very important for everyone who works in the Salesforce system to know, right? Because the reason being, right, a lot of you should know uh, what objects that comes handy when it wants to do certain things, right? For instance, if you wanted to add a field to say an account object, you should know whether an account object is a standard object or if it's a custom object, right? And how the relationship between a standard and object and custom object works out. Can you delete a standard object? No, really. Can you delete a custom object? Yes, you can, depending upon the access right. Right. So though these are the things you should know. I mean, even for this certification, though this is not very a tech cert, this is a basic business admin cert, user experience. So if you are someone who never worked with the sales before, this cert is pretty good, right? But though I often recommend not to take this as a first set, just go and study Salesforce admin first, right? Now, Salesforce have associate cert, which is okay. If you are someone who never worked with Salesforce before, I will suggest you to have a look at that. But if you ask my personal opinion, I still rate admin cert as one of the best cert for someone to get into Salesforce ecosystem. So that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing Saturday. Adios.